Hello and welcome. It is now spring in the northern hemisphere, autumn in the southern hemisphere. That means there will be more light than darkness for the next 6 months north of the equator, and more darkness than light south of such until, of course, September. All right then. Well, what do we see here? I got a lot to go over. Everything's within your own risk, own reward. Today is also that of March 20th. It's also that of crypto day, but every day is such. Bitcoin and the alternate coins all trade every single day. No days off. Okay. Therefore, we're looking at Bitcoin to start off against the US dollar. I got a bunch of different things to go over, so it's most certainly a mixed bag of different things. This low, which was a higher one from the February one, has had a few days rallying, 3 in a row, up to in the 18 average so far. It's in the correctionary move. The first step to stop the negative neutrality on the minimum, that is to flatten the 18 average of lows out. And holding above around 8,600 should most certainly do such instantly, and then getting above the 18 average is one of the steps needed in that of reversal of trends. In a downtrend, it's only a higher low right now from this point until it can successfully do what it needs to do, because bottoms and tops are known thereafter the fact. And if we resist a declining 18 average, and then you start to notice price action going below it. Right now, the 18 average of lows is in at about 83.30. So for the next little while, that's a very big support mark. On the 60-minute time frame, after the first move higher, some nice sideways consolidation. Also, you can notice that the resistance from the first move of March 18th and 19th was support on, well, the 19th and 20th. And since this move occurred at lunchtime today, 12 p.m. Eastern, rather, 8,600 or so broken past that point, and it has kept going sideways within this move. A nice little small push up, but volatility pretty small for the move, and that's an overall bearish statement that the sellers are not flocking in with a little bit of higher prices. So we'll continue to keep my eye on that, and yeah, I'm liking how this is moving forward. Let's continue on. The spreadsheet which I'm using to track different coins against Litecoin, I've added the US dollar price. This is information as at about 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, which is when I usually update it every day. The Litecoin price against the US dollar in at $170.38. Against silver, it is about 9 2/3 ounces. You need about 9.68 ounces of silver to value that of one Litecoin. So these numbers are relatively always going to be about the same. Recently, over the 18 high, or the highest price over the 18 days, this is only closing numbers only. You can see towards such, and just a few other different coins. I've added an average for myself. This is only against the altcoins. So of the list that I got, and I'm going to keep on adding more as I go through, the average altcoin outperformed Litecoin today by 1.15%, but the average one has underperformed it by 2.72% over the last 10 days in this situation. Now, I did draw up a little price chart for this here, which spans about a year in time. So let's just bring it up. You can see it now. I'm just going to adjust the scaling of it a little bit if I can, and of course I'll be able to. Okay, so this is over the last year. Back in here, which is a year ago, you needed about 5 Litecoins to get 1 ounce of silver, and boy, have the times changed. And again, this is like the US dollar price chart, especially lately with the price of silver not going up or down too much, not only for the last year, but really for the last 3, 4, 5 years or so. Well, 3 or 4. And the sideways action, 3 to about 4. There we can see it breaking out. And at the top, it was about 20. Now, if we think about what a decent Litecoin short-term move, and when I say short-term, anytime in this calendar year, if we see Litecoin prices up around 4,000, it's pretty safe to say that silver should not be higher than 20, although you never know. And even if it is, how much higher? Well, 4,000 divided by 20 would be that of 200. So if Litecoin has some spectacular gains, but you know what, come on, as if it makes sense, you would go from like 10x move from like 20 to 200. And by the way, if we take 20 and divide this is 2 right here. So it did have a 10x move here from this low to this high. And here, 0.2 up to like, oh, this is better than two 10x moves it's had in the last year. Maybe it'll have another one, maybe it won't. But if it does, I'll most certainly be buying more silver with that of Litecoin. Let's move on to Smart Cash, a crypto alternate coin, which is in at 13 cents, 13.3. I just recently got in on this. Let's take a look at its chart. This is its logarithmic look. It started off in a decline, originally priced at around, got up to about 1600 Satoshi. Fell down to about 144, and I bought in on around 150 on this particular day, it was a Sunday actually. Sunday, September the 10th, I would have gotten in. I would have gotten in an average of about 200 Satoshi. The move higher was because I noticed a Chinese exchange. Let me just show this information here. This move occurred. We can see the time, 12:30 UTC. And, well, as if that matters. But on September the 10th, then at this point, I noticed, hey, wait a second. Some Chinese exchange on extreme volume just bought this up to 400. And then on a smaller exchange, no longer trading this code right now, I can buy this at 200. Okay, let's do it. And then I waited and I waited. This just went sideways and down it goes. I'm like, oh crap. Oh well. And then of course after that, we take a look at the market. That we just get all the data back. The market grinded down to 140 before it had a beautiful run up to 500. So I started profit taking a little bit of buyback. Profit taking practically all of it, most of it. Market came back higher. Now I had a lot of my Smart Cash in limbo on the Cryptopia exchange. And when they were finally able to be transferred, and I was able to get them onto another exchange, which was that of Coin Exchange, I ended up selling them on the market on February the 5th of this year. And I sold 3,691.21373 at the 44,000 Satoshi price. And I got about 15% of a Bitcoin. Well, I just recently bought it back at 1,304 Satoshi. I bought exactly what I sold. So there's a guaranteed gain of 0.1, a little more, but pretty much 1/10 of a Bitcoin. And everything on top of this, and it pretty much always has been, is pure profits. This has been one of my better trading items because I got relatively aggressive in the purchase, and obviously it has paid off for me thus far. Now the next thing I'm really interested in is how this thing is going to move over the short-term time frame. Let's click on markets in here. And they always started off with the volume on top. So the #1 traded market is where I bought it at, which is Coin Exchange. I'm going to change this to BTC. I'm also going to change the size of this. so I can see it better. So the price is at 1230 on a place with 6 Bitcoin volume. On CryptoBridge, 4.6 Bitcoin volume, 1707. Okay. Hit BTC, 1539. It's definitely arbitrageable. I could probably, depending on the wallets, move this over to CryptoBridge and get a decent gain right off the bat, considering I bought at 13. But I'm probably just going to hold them on that exchange and wait. I've actually put my sell orders on there. I'm going to go back to that. But it'll be very interesting where a top exchange has a price move like this. And it's only 6 Bitcoin. Overall, this thing is trading at like 17 Bitcoins total. And will there be an evening out process? Will this be even at around 1400 and change on the short-term move? But regardless of the fact, what I'm looking to do is sell them up. And this is my general strategy for how I like to play different things. So I start off at 1300. Selling at 2000 would be a gain of about 700 basis points on 1300. That's a little over 50%. And I'm going to look to sell 700 of them, and then reduce the amount that I sell per order, and then sell it areas of, and I'm going to probably just remove it in time, especially if I get buybacks. I always do such, but sell at 1998, and then after that 3150, 5000, 7800, 13,000, and then 25,000. And yeah, so say for example I make a sale at the 2000 handle, then I would probably look to buy it back at around 1,000, a lower low from where I originally got in. And even if I sold 3 in a row, if it goes up to 5,000, well, I'd like to get this one back at about 2,600 to 2,700. Get this one back at about 15, maybe 16, and then this one back at between 1,000 and 1,200. And that's the basic way on how I play the game. And of course, after you get a buyback, then I'll just reassess all my sell orders from that point moving forward. Let's move on to some other altcoins like THC. I was talking way back here about waiting to get in, and I don't know where the bottoms are going to be. And I don't look at the fundamental analyses for a lot of these coins, or practically all of them, although sometimes I can understand what people are stating. But I do realize mathematically these things go up and down big in price numbers or price action. And I can try to do my best at profiting from such. I figured 1,000 could have been support, and of course it wasn't. And I figured even 500 would work out to really big level, considering about 570 or so is big Fibonacci. I did buy it around a little over the 750 handle, just a small amount, but I'll buy a decent a bit more in at this point, because I've seen it so many times before. Markets are in downtrends, and then next thing you know, you have this one, big move higher. You have a big move up here. There's so many awesome up moves that can occur. They usually happen fast. Having sell orders in place means you can be quote-unquote lazy, and not really lazy, because you could be doing a lot of hard work with the other time you're saving from this. But it doesn't require you to actively be at the computer all the time. In fact, if you just look on a once per day level at these codes and say, okay, nothing new to see here, and when sell orders come in, and you'll be notified for such a situation. Now let's go over NEM, because interesting volume that was occurred during the session today. I did log on to my Trezor wallet today. I didn't yesterday. I don't even know if I did the day before that. I bought silver on Friday. It came in the mail today, which was nice, but I don't even know if I logged in on Saturday or since the time I purchased it on Friday. But what I noticed on there was that NEM is available on the Trezor wallet now. Okay. Major volume in here, and the price action never really had any major significant event. You can't tell if it was up volume or down volume other than maybe the red colors indicating such. I don't understand if it can detect if it was more buy volume or sell volume, but regardless, well, this volume obviously came in on a buy. Yeah, I mean, there's the move right here that happened, getting the price up from 3,200 up to 4,000, and has pretty much given back the vast majority of those gains. The overall market sentiment has been the downtrend, where price action from the time it was in the correctionary mode or leaving the newly flattened 18 average band. This is where you had support established. You came back to the band. It was never, ever anything more than resistance the rest of the way. It fell from it to set up its bear market on January the 28th. It broke established resistance right in here on February the 1st. It resisted where it came from a couple times. It did so on February the 4th and definitely again on February 7th, although it did the day before on the 6th as well. Grinding the 18 average from February the 7th through February the 17th. And then having 4 decent red candles down, well below the 18. So well below that I had about a week going sideways with like very little volatility. It stayed below it. Then it had another leg lower. It came down to this significant Fibonacci point. It found support the last time at a fib point. It did not. One thing worth noting, if you get to an area that's supposed to be support, support is defined as, in my book, as a high percentage level where a down move should stop going lower for at least an okay amount of time or a decent amount of price retracement. But that didn't happen. But when that gets violated fast and you don't get what you usually do, you should get a relatively fast move to the next level, which fast enough, well, consistently down, I'm going to count it. But you did get support right in at that level. Now, this point, which was supposed to be support in February, was resistance. In here, price comes back to support, and that's where we stand now. So you can almost make a case of this being in a neutral phase from the support level at 29.50. Definitely to the 18 average of highs at 42.67, even a small break above at 45. However, stage 1, band flattened out. Stage 2, established resistance. It's came back to the band now. So it's either setting up the failed breakout, and if that's the case, I'm going to be looking for a move down to its next support mark at around 2,000 Satoshi if it's a failed breakout. But if it's not that and this area holds and we start to see action above the 18, that's going to create very bullish setups looking to form. And then on the break of resistance, when you see around 6,000 Satoshi, I would expect at least a leg up to the 7,700 mark, but it wouldn't surprise me that if it has this setup where we go from point A high in here to this big low here, which we'll say becomes support, you have one move up, hold this area, break through, that you could very easily be looking at taking out this previous high, especially since we noticed that after making this move before last May, serious decline, albeit the serious decline supported this major level of resistance from the summer of 2016. That's amazing in that sense. And therefore, if you see the situation of coming up to it, and this 3,000 holding as I'm stating, then on a break of above such, that could be magnificent. Let's take a look at this on, say, a more longer term time frame. So there again, this level of support becomes resistance. And that high doesn't look so small when you look at it from this point of view, but even from before. There's a spot where 450 was resistance, and that looked like a big move, and so on and so forth. So anyway, just wanted to let you know that I did see this on my Trezor wallet that is available. Didn't put any funds in there, not as of yet, but it is on that wallet. Moving on to the Litecoin versus Ethereum index. And this level of multiple hit resistance at about 0.27 has obviously been taken out in price action. Just making a nice little grind on its way higher, as Ethereum not doing so well against Bitcoin right now. Litecoin hanging in there. Take a look at this on a 4-hour time frame. There's the break of resistance. And it should make a move very soon to the 0.33 handle. And this is the Litecoin against Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame. So after its last fall from the big higher area of 240, a long move down, this level of support, which it lifted off from on March the 7th, a couple weeks back, has not been tested since. This high that it made has also not been tested since. It has made a lower low and another one. It is holding the 18 average of highs a little bit, but it still has a long way to go to get this trend back in the up direction. Overall, of course, on the long-term time frame, when a lot of altcoins are going down in the tubes against Bitcoin, Litecoin is holding on to those gains, and after this, it's been holding the resistance from the major December moves as support. That, to me, is a very strong sign. That's why a lot of altcoins have underperformed against the Litecoin, because of how well it has moved over this very interesting start of the year, with cryptos, of course, having a retracement price down against fiat currencies. Ethereum against Bitcoin on the daily chart. I have key Fibonacci levels in. They represent this low and this high. Or 1, 2, 3. Or what do they represent? I'm the one that put these in. I got 5 different lines in here. Well, I'm trying to figure these out. This is... Oh, okay. No, no. Okay, I remember. It's Fibonacci from this high to this low. And this happened to work out to a more longer term level that happened to be support here. So now that I've figured this out, or remembered what it is, but even then, doesn't make sense. Well then, I could probably watch my old video that I made on this, because I remember actually making the video on this about 3 weeks ago, I think. But for what it stands right now, this line has done very, very well in finding support and then doing what you would, or seeing what you would see on a break of this level. Because when I talk about something that happened both bullishly and bearishly, this is that spot here where on a bearish level, when you hit this key point, you were at least able to get up to the 18 average of highs. That's all you got, but that's what you got. And then when you have that bearish move where you support it for just a small tad, well, here's a spot where it doesn't support anymore, it goes below it. Now it comes up and resists it, and we can see how it's fallen, and it's a decent level away from the 18 average, decent level away from 0.078. So I wouldn't be surprised if this comes down to the 0.52 handle. Whether we'll have any stop in the downward movement and any resistance at the 18 average, I would fully expect that if this does have any rallies well before it comes down here, and it does make it to the 18, that it would resist up to the previous high at 73 handle, but in this 18 average. And then of course coming down here, well, it's at a spot where it should stop going lower. And yeah, that will be it for that particular point. I got really nothing more to go over. I've already made this a long video. So thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.